Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Rosenfeld, and I am a Network and Action franchise owner in the Houston area. And so it's my pleasure today to introduce everyone to Jessica DeFeo with JMD Creative Consulting. Jessica is the owner, founder, president, all those roles, right?
All the things, all the hats.
Of JMD Creative Consulting. To wrap it up, I'm just going to say Jessica is basically serves for small businesses as their fractional CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. She does an amazing job in doing that. I'm going to make it a little bit personal in regards to Jessica. She's been a member of Network in Action in one of my all women's groups since 2022, when I had the great pleasure of being referred to her by one of my founding members. Um, Jessica has been an amazing member. So, for an example, I introduced two new members at the meeting last week. Oh, no, excuse me. I introduced four new members at the meeting last week, and two of them were referrals from Jessica. So, Jessica really knows how to get out there and network and connect people just in the networking world. But then she also really knows how to help a small business really target their marketing. Whether, everyone always makes the assumption almost that, oh, it's going to be social media, but that's not her approach. It is what really works best for that specific client. She's very detail oriented. And to speak on a personal level, also, she is one of the people that I call on a regular basis when I really need sage advice on maybe how to handle a business situation or just a little bit of a guidance in regards to marketing. And then she has, I don't know, Jess, how many members are your clients currently?
Oh gosh. In NIA, probably eight.
The,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Majority of my client base is through NIA. Yeah.
So I think that says it all. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jessica, and let you share your wisdom with us. So glad to
Thank
have you here.
you.
Thank you.
That was the best. I'm taking Lisa everywhere I go now. I appreciate you. Hi guys. So this is going to be, I'm not presenting anything on slides to you today. This is going to be me just really talking to you from one business owner to the next about this particular strategy that I have been working personally in my business for a few years, but really honed it down to a like fine science formula this year. And I'll tell you why and how it's worked for me in a second. But I am deeply passionate about networking. And it's interesting because when I first started my business about 5 years ago, I was terrified of networking. I'm a natural introvert. Until you get to know me, and I'm the biggest extrovert. So I was terrified of networking. I hated it. I didn't like the way that it felt. And I just made it my own. And then I saw how well it worked for me and how quickly it worked for me. And so now not only do I use it in my business, but I also teach my clients if they don't have a networking strategy within their business, I teach them the same thing. So today we are literally talking about the web of success. And for those of you that are visual, when I teach this to my clients, I was doing this actually a couple of months ago, and I all of a sudden had this vision of a literal spider web. And so when you think about a spider web, you're thinking about all of the different rungs on the spider web, literally, that the spider builds out. And then the center is where she stays, and the food gets caught on these outside rungs, and then she's easily able to go get the food and bring it back. And it's similar to working your networking and working it in a way that is intentional, that is formulaic, so you can just repeat it whenever you need to. And it's a consistent way of building your business or just trying to reach goals within your business. This is a repeatable and effective marketing and business building process. It doesn't matter the number of years you've been in business. It doesn't matter how much revenue you have or don't have. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or you've got 50 people on your team. This is about working smarter, not harder, which I think we're all about right now. And so, like I said, I've been networking for years, but I specifically restructured my business back in probably December-ish last year, so almost a year ago. And I've been in different pieces and parts of marketing for the last 5 years in my business. But the one thing that I noticed was most of us within our 5 to 7 year mark of business, We typically don't have the budget to do a lot of marketing, and we also don't fully understand it. So we aren't coming into it with a strategy and a plan. And so we're just kind of repeatedly throwing stuff at a wall to see if something hopefully sticks. Usually it doesn't. Um, and so I decided to restructure in the terms of helping small business owners literally figure out what are the goals that you're trying to reach within your business, who are you trying to serve, and then let's figure out a marketing strategy that we can come up with, that we have goalposts along the way, and let's see what happens with a plan. So this is part of my literal marketing strategy. So I knew that if I could go to 4 or 5 networking meetings a month, and if I could have 2 intentional meetings booked from each meeting, so 5 meetings, 2 meetings from each, that was 10 one-on-ones per month that I was using to be able to either trying to see and qualify, were they a client, were they a referral partner, or were they someone just amazing and magical that I needed in my life? Either way, they usually fit into a bucket. And so I started out in January of this year having 0 marketing CMO clients. And hopefully by the end of this year, I'll have about 12 clients and reach 6 figures. It's a very doable, repeatable process, no matter your goal. So let's kind of get into why this is the formula that I want you to use. And by the end of the meeting, I'm hoping that you have this repeatable process. Just for housekeeping stuff, if you guys have questions, I'm not looking at anyone, I'm looking at my notes currently. So if you have a question, throw it in the chat. I'm going to try to end with like 10 or 15 minutes at the end for questions. So if you're like me and it's like you have a thought and then it leaves your brain 10 seconds later, go ahead and put it in the chat, and Lisa will yell at me when it's almost time to end, and that way I can go through the questions in the chat, but I want to be able to get through everything. Okay, so first things first, you want to become the center of influence. So whatever you are doing, I'm lovingly now known to all of my people within networking and my clients as their marketing girl. So I don't mind it. I kind of love it, to be honest. And that is how I built my center of influence. So it's kind of like if you go back to the visual of this spider in the center of your web, she's that center of influence. And it's the same thing within your industry. We want you to network and set intentions with building trusting relationships that you are the go-to for the thing that you do. And the way that you position yourself to do that, to build your web, is showing up consistently, both online and in person. Be a connector and not just a collector of contacts. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Adding value without an immediate ask when you meet new people. So one of the things that I want you to think about is, how often are you referring people now within your own business? Like, are you referring people out consistently? Is that even a practice that you have under your belt, or is that something that you feel like you need some practice with? Because people refer people that refer. So people are going to refer me because I'm constantly, I always refer to it as like the Rolodex in my brain. So when I'm out networking and I know exactly who your ideal client is, if I meet someone and Gary introduces me and Gary's like, hey, I have this problem. And I'm like, I know exactly who you need to meet. And then I set up the introduction. It's that process consistently, but are you doing that now? Because typically people won't refer me if I'm not reciprocating. And we'll get into that in a second. But that's really about the power of you becoming the center of influence. And typically it's because you are placing a lot of value on the people that you meet, and therefore the reciprocity is happening back to you with referrals back into your business. So what does this formula even mean? How do you start it? Well, it all starts literally within the meeting that you're in, right? So whether it's your own NIA meeting, whether it's you're out networking, it's a social event, really doesn't matter. But the hook is how you open, and your intro, your whatever and however you're meeting new people, it determines if they're going to remember you. So we all know that a strong intro, a strong commercial is going to be a powerful way to get people to come to you. And I say that because typically with my commercial, and it kind of changes up every time I go to a meeting, but I know that if I can nail the intro, meaning who do I help, how I help them, and then why it matters, right? Call out the pain point, that you are solving and talk about it within your commercial. Why is this important? Because I have people almost every time that once the meeting is over, I have 2 to 4 people every meeting that come up to me and say, I need your information. And they start that conversation, which, if you remember, I'm an introvert. So while I'm confident in what I'm talking about and what I do, I love it when people just come to me and I don't necessarily have to talk to the rest of the room. So it is a powerful way. If you haven't nailed your intro yet, it's just one other thing that can really help you kind of catapult you and give you the leverage that you need. So let's take this one step at a time. You have a killer commercial, people are coming up to you, and I need your information, and you're starting the initial conversation. The reason why I'm talking about this particular part in a granular way is because the way that you make those people feel and the way that you ask them questions about the business will naturally progress this conversation into a one-on-one. Because in a meeting, what are we doing? We're talking, people might be interrupting us. We're trying to like get home, get there, get wherever. And it's not a intentional space for you to really figure out what their problem is and what their business is. But it's also not a great space for you to have enough time to talk about who you are, what you do. Protect that time and get it into a one-on-one. But there's certain ways that I do this that work effectively every time. And that is, I don't make it about me at all. I make it all about them within that first initial minute, 2 minute conversation. So I'm asking questions about, what's going on? How does that make you feel? What are your pain points right now? Tell me more about it. And naturally, people are going to say, well, enough about me, tell me more about you. And that is when I say, you know what, I would love to talk about myself, but I need to talk to someone else or I've got to run. I would actually like to set like an intentional one-on-one with you to get to know you because I need to learn how to refer you and help support and build your business. If someone doesn't say to you, oh, that's awesome, yeah, let's set that up, then they are completely missing the mark. I've never had anyone say, like, no, never, I never want you to refer my business. So it is a natural way of getting someone to say, oh, yeah, of course, right? Because we're all in networking. What is the one thing that none of us do ever, ever, ever? We don't follow up. No one follows up. How many business cards have you received where even if I'm an excellent follow-upper, but the amount of people that do not text me back, that do not answer my email, that do not answer my phone call, I'm like, I literally, I want to be able to refer you, and they're not even meeting that. So I was just stepped in front of the problem. And I'm like, I know that you need the support within your business, and this is not really the time to do it. So let me refer you. Let me learn how to refer you, but let's do it in a one-on-one. And I grab my phone because it's usually always in my hand anyway. And I have my Calendly scheduling link that I have. I just bring it up and I make them fill out the date and the information, and it's booked before we both leave. So we just circumvent the whole follow-up process because it's just tenuous and no one ever does it. So, in order for you to secure those one-on-ones to talk about your business with that potential client or referral partner, you've got to have the right conversation. So, make it about them, make them feel valued before they even start working with you, and then know how to transition that into, hey, I'd love to learn more about you. And that way I can talk about maybe how we could work together or how I can refer you, but let's do this in a one-on-one. And then book the meeting before you go. Okay, next steps is when you get to the intentional one-on-one, right? So if you've got 10 meetings booked out and you've got all of your time set, then you get to the actual space where you are building out your web, right? And within this one-on-one space, there also is an effective way of doing this. You've got to make it manageable and sustainable, and it compounds over time, right? It's this whole rung spider web thing. So making sure that you know that you don't have to talk to the entire room, right? And here's why I say I don't like that strategy, because it doesn't actually give you the time to have the intentional connected 1 minute, 2 minute conversation that you'd like, it doesn't allow you to do that. So it's kind of like you're just like turning and burning people. And so that person in front of you maybe doesn't feel valued by you. They feel kind of like it's not the intentional time. Therefore, they may not even want to book the one-on-one. They don't show up for the one-on-one, and maybe they don't even want to refer you. So protect that conversation, which means that maybe you're just talking to 2 to 4 people within that room at that meeting. But based on people's commercials, based on who they are, if you know as a business owner who you need as a referral partner and who you need as a client, then all you're doing is looking at who are my people in the room and then making sure that you're going up to them and having maybe 2 to 3 really intentional, value-driven conversations and booking those one-on-ones with those people. So if you do the math, right, 10 meetings, so we'll say 4 to keep it a little bit lower. 4 events a month, 8 intentional new connections monthly, which I call your pipeline. So think about it as literal people just in your pipeline, either client or referral partner. That's 96 people, new people per year that are either going to be referring you consistently or becoming a client. It's like, so if you think about it, 20%, like if we take those numbers, if only 20% become strong referral partners, meaning consistently referring you out, that's over like 19 people actively talking about you in rooms that you do not exist in. And this is the point. The point is to duplicate yourself over and over and over again with people that know you, people that know exactly who you're looking for, and people that know your goals. So if you are replicating yourself, it's huge as a solopreneur, right? I can't hire a sales team. So the only option was, how do I find people that trust me, know exactly who I'm looking for, and then they're out going to networking meetings. And when they hear, oh, I think that'd be perfect person for Jess, they're literally going, hey, I have a marketing girl. Like, it's literally how I'm referred. Oh, I have a marketing girl you need to talk to. Her name is Jess. They set up a warm intro over text, and I take it from there. So that's literally, again, how even if I'm not actively networking in a month because my business is scaling quickly, I have people sending me consistent referrals. So again, things are working when I can be at the center of my web and build my own business. So it's really lovely when it works so well. So you're looking for energy alignment. Who are your people? Potential synergy, right? Not everyone is going to be a client. And quite frankly, you don't need everyone to be a client. You really want people that know you, trust you, and know how to refer you. So every meeting, two one-on-ones, book it before you leave. And obviously with your Calendly or whatever you have set up for your scheduler, making sure that they have like email updates or text reminders. So you're not playing this like cumbersome follow-up game with these 10 new people every month. Like make sure it's an automated process. It's happening in the background. You don't have to think about it. If they need to reschedule, the link is there. All that good kind of operational background stuff, make sure that's really solid. But that's going to be your formula, literally. Okay, the art of the intentional one-on-one. So here's where the magic happens. Here's where you are sitting at coffee, and I do both in person and Zoom. So it all depends on my time. So I don't think it really matters the space. I think it just matters about the intention that you have behind this one-on-one, which is to deepen trust. And this is not a sales pitch. Unless they have literally come to you to say, hey, I need your help. I'd like to talk about the business. Then I think you know more clarity around the call, but I don't ever go into it trying to pitch myself. And in fact, I'm going to start the meeting to say, hey, let's start with you. You know, we met initially. Here's kind of what I know. And then have some leading questions. Because again, I want to lead with curiosity. I want them to feel like I'm giving value before they even work with me or refer me. But it's also giving them the intention of like, man, this chick like cares. Like she cares about me. And if she treats me this way and I haven't paid her anything, then I know that she's going to treat anyone that they refer to me the same way, right? So you're kind of giving them this like introduction to what it's like to work with you. Listen for alignment and opportunities to help while that other person is describing what they're going through. That's also why I ask the questions first. I'm gathering data. Because if I feel like they're a great referral partner or they could be a client, I know exactly that when I start to chat and kind of answer these questions and talk more about me and what I do, then I can use some of the examples that they gave me on how I could solve their problem, or how I could help refer them. So it's immediately giving without being salesy. It's immediately giving them the understanding that I know what I'm doing and I know how to support. Sharing your business in a story and not a sales script. I always go back to like, man, I was in retail for 25 years. That almost killed me. Now self-taught web designer, all these things. It gives them a really clear story, but it's not a salesy script. In fact, I tell this story all the time. It was a one-on-one with another NIA member, and didn't it was a different meeting that I went to. Wasn't my own meeting with Lisa. It was actually one of her husband Moose's groups. So I was just a guest and set up this one-on-one with a gentleman that never met before, didn't really know much about the business. We had one of the most impactful one-on-ones I've ever had, and we actually never talked about what we did. And I think that is such a testament to when you kind of just clear away the bullshit, to be really clear, and you just talk from human to human, how incredibly valuable that is to each other. And being able to say, like, I just now know you as a human, and I would refer Todd out to anyone that I ever speak to if they need him. Like, that's just how great that one-on-one was, and how impactful that can be. I do want to emphasize this though. When you have the one-on-one, be clear about what you're looking for. I always ask, hey, how can I support you? Like, who are you looking for? Who are your ideal clients? Because again, it's going to go in my Rolodex. And also, it may not even be that you're looking to build your pipeline of 10 clients. It could be like, hey, I am looking to get connected for speaking engagements. Like my new goal for 2026, not technically, but as a possible, I would love to start speaking and getting paid for it. So if you have a goal that you're trying to meet, then make that the ask. Hey, as you're out looking at other or meeting with other people, looking at other opportunities for networking, here's what I'm looking for, because it makes it really clear what the ask is. And then it's like, well, how can I refer you? Here's exactly what I need. And then vice versa. So you're making um, that reciprocation clear, and that you're willing to support them. And it just becomes, there's no assumption on anyone's part of what you're looking for. So just make that really clear. Now, if you're building out your web and the whole point is to find these referral partners, right? Getting them to trust you, you can't just have a one-on-one and then ghost them. You have to somehow keep the data and track these one-on-ones, because follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up is literally the key to this. I don't care if you have 96 new one-on-ones, something I'm sure will come of it because the numbers are high. But if you don't follow up, if you don't send a text that says literally, hey, haven't heard from you, how are things going, how's business, then everything it won't work. This whole system won't work if you don't follow up. Why? Because we all have so much going on in our lives. I am not going to remember you if you don't put yourself in front of me at some point. And we each feel that way. So if you have these intentional one-on-ones and you're taking all of this time out of your business to build your web, then within, whether it's a spreadsheet or it's on a piece of paper, I don't really care how you do it. But if you don't take the time to go, oh man, I haven't talked to Kelsey in like 4 months, like I got to check in with her. I got to make sure, because Kelsey does operations, and I'm taking out Kelsey because she's on the call right now. But Kelsey does operations, and her ideal client is kind of my ideal client. So if she and I are not talking, she's not going to remember me. And I don't blame that. It's literally no one's fault, but that's just kind of how our brains work right now. So if I don't have a system where I'm not reaching out to Kels to say like, hey lady, how's it going? What can I do to support you this month? Who is going to say like, Jess, I don't have time for you? Like literally everyone is going to respond in some way of like, oh my gosh, thanks so much. Not really sure, but let me get back to you. We need to catch up anyway. It's like a 99% conversion, literally. Every time that I'm reaching out to who I have identified as a referral partner, if I'm not asking that and staying in front of it, it really just kind of falls by the wayside. And that's not the point. And it's interesting. We kind of talked about this at a meeting a couple of months ago within my own group. And one of the things that was brought up was like, well, I just don't know how to ask. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm asking for something. And there's a couple of ways that I feel like you can circumvent that, meaning we're here to network and build each other's businesses. So just say what you need, because that's kind of the point. But also, if you go into it with a value add, hey, how are you? What does your business need this month? How can I keep an eye out for people for you this month? What do you need? I'm just checking in. It is a level of feeling seen and taken care of that, quite frankly, this world needs more of right now. And that alone will not only, it adds to their emotional bucket so much so that they are going to repeat and reciprocate the process. And when that starts to happen and the trust continues to build and there's consistency there, that's when you start to feel these referrals start to flow in because you are making those people feel seen and heard. You're probably referring them to a couple of people. Now, it's up to them whether it works or not. That's not up to you. But you're just gathering the troops and you're sending them your someone else's way. It's up to them to convert. But all you're doing is saying, hey, I think this is an opportunity for you. It's worth 5 minutes of your time. But we have to make sure that we're staying in front of it. And we have to stay sure that we're following up. It's all in the follow up, which, as I said before, a lot of times we're not great at, which is why I say you have to track it. You have to somehow put it in front of you and remind yourself, like, ooh, I haven't talked to Mike in a couple of months or haven't seen him. I just need to check in and let that be the start of continuing to build out your rungs. But did I make it? Oh, I did. 30 minutes. Man, that was pretty good. So that's it, you guys. That's it. Literally, this is not it's not a NASA formula. This is like, get in there, make people feel seen, heard, and welcomed, make them feel valued, and just aligning with the right people will change the trajectory of your business. I cannot stress it enough. Like I said, I've seen it in mine. It's a level of consistency that if I'm looking and evaluating my business and say, man, I'd love to have 6 more clients by middle of next year, that I know that if I just go back to this, if I just go back to 4 meetings a month with 2 to 3 one-on-ones each, I will get there by January, February. I can't tell you the ease that it gives me as a solopreneur and a single mom, that if I know that I need to build my business quickly, that I can just go back to the formula. I can press the gas or I can take my foot off whenever I want to, because I know my conversion rate and I know what it takes to get to the amount of people in my pipeline. It is just one of the easiest things I think that we can do as business owners that we feel like we're in control of. So yeah, it's just, it works, it works, it works, it works. And I hope that you guys feel confident in getting started. So thank you.
All right.
So,
Oh,
any questions from anyone? Sorry, Daniela. So here's one. So from Kat Diaz, what is your advice on the best way to track one-to-one information for follow-up and personal notes?
So I love a good spreadsheet. I am not the builder of any spreadsheet. So I literally have the most simple of simplest spreadsheets that just name where I met them, the date of our first one-on-one, their contact information, obviously, what they do, why I think they're a good referral partner. And then if I feel like they are in, like, I kind of rate them. So there's like 3 different levels. Hot, meaning they're like, man, like they, like Kelsey. Kelsey works with kind of the same bracket of business owners that I do. So when we met, I'm like, hey, you've got my people, I've got your people, but she doesn't do marketing, she does operations. So we still need each other's people. If that is a literal pipeline of consistent people for you, then that is a hot referral partner lead. Meaning, I better make sure that it's a once a month check in. So you're not like, overstepping anything, but it's at least a once a month check in of like, hey, just checking on you. How are things? Because again, if they feel seen and supported, they're going to keep you top of mind more often. But the spreadsheet is so simple. It's so simple. It's like color coded green, yellow, and red. So yeah, I'm a visual girl. Good question though.
Let's see. Someone asked, and you kind of answered this, but do you have a CRM system that you use to track your conversations?
Um,
Um,
yeah, I mean, well, so for example, I do have a separate CRM. So I use HoneyBook to keep my whole business side of life organized. Um, So that helps me in the scheduling side of things. So when people book with me, I don't have to literally think about it again until they're showing up on Zoom with me because all of my reminders and text messages are going out of like, hey, don't forget, hey, don't forget. So that's really nice. Um, then it also records the conversation over Zoom too, so I can go back to notes, which is really helpful, but it doesn't necessarily keep like the spreadsheet really allows me to go into a high level visual immediately of like who they are, what they do, and when do I need to contact them again. So I'm sure there's one that probably does better than my current system, but it works for me right now.
let's see. So this is from, oh, let's see. Great strategy. Okay, the CRM. Vanessa said, any tips for fellow introverts for getting over the initial anxiousness feeling at networking events?
Yeah. So it's one of those things, it's a good combination of like it's going to be uncomfortable until it's not. And I think one of the things that I had to get over was I thought networking only had to be done successfully one way, which is you go into a room, you talk to everybody, you give everybody their business card, and then, hopefully someone follows back up. And then I realized that that was an awful way of networking for me because I don't want to talk to everybody in the room. I don't like it. I'm not even that way at parties. Like, I just want to like if there was an animal at the networking event, I'd just be by the animal the whole time and I probably wouldn't get any networking done. So I had to figure out a process of like, Jessica, if this is the only way that you can build your business right now, like you're going to have to get over yourself. But what does it mean for me? Like, what's the most confident that I can feel for me in networking? And that was, okay, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to listen to everybody's commercials. I'm going to see again who's a good referral partner, who could be a great client. And then I'm going to go up to them and say, hey, I think we could be a great partnership in some form or fashion. I'd love to know more about you. Again, make it about them, not about you. Can we book a one-on-one? Would you love to have coffee or something? And so it just got me over oh, I don't have to talk to the whole room to be effective. And I don't have to talk to the people I don't want to talk to. And now I know exactly in the room who I think energetically and professionally we're aligned. And I'm just going to go say, hey, you and I think need to have a conversation. And again, when you say things like, I want to know more about you so I know how to refer you, it takes out kind of the pain point of like, will they accept me or not? Will they ghost me after this? So yeah, I would say just don't worry. You don't have to talk to the whole room. Just make it about the people that you know you're aligned with, and then just go have those conversations. Also, wine helps. So there's that. Yeah. Pro tip, get some wine.
Let's see. Here's another one. Okay. Let me go down here. From Kelsey. Do you
Hi,
have
Cal.
tips on the best way to make the referral? If I have a client who I know you can help, but maybe they aren't ready, is that still a great opportunity?
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so two things. If you know that you want to refer someone, then I always ask the person before I set up the introduction. I'm like, hey, I'll use me and Sarah Zisi for an example, because we refer each other back and forth all day, every day. And so one of the things that she'll do with me and vice versa, she's like, hey, met this girl at a networking event. Here's what she does. I would like to introduce you. I'm going to set you up on an intro text, just a heads up. So it's never a cold referral for me, which I appreciate because then I can immediately know, like, oh, this is what's happening. I can respond and be like, hey, thanks so much, Sarah. Amanda, hey, good to meet you. I'm going to text you separately and we'll go from there. So it does not have to be this novel of here's who Jess is, here's what she does, because she probably has said something to Amanda already that's like, she's my marketing girl, she's great at this, this, and this. I think she can support you, but it's worth 5 minutes of your time just to do a one-on-one. And then sets up the introduction. So that's literally short, quick, and to the point, but just give that person the heads up that, hey, I'm going to send a referral your way. Makes it easy. You're
And
welcome.
Sarah's Gallery says she needs to start drinking. So since your tip was to drink the wine, so
Let's not let that be a takeaway, Sarah.
That was my
Just
first
saying it's
thought.
helpful. Just saying it's helpful.
So I have a question, Jess. So in working with your clients, because I know several of the people you work with, so I know you're obviously sharing this formula with them and talking to them and everything. But then from there, how do you just a little bit about your business? In your strategy on what you feel like will be effective for them. Because like I know we talked about the other day that there was a client that, you really didn't know that networking was his thing, right? Like that's where he was going to gain the most from,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I know, so you really specialize it, right?
For my clients, you mean?
Yes. I'm talking about
Yeah,
the clients you're
absolutely.
working with.
It has to be a custom approach because every person's goal is going to be different and the goal might change. Like, now my goal is probably more referral partners than just networking to build clients because right now, before I hire support to help me within my own business, like I don't have necessarily the time to go out and do a lot of networking right now. But I know that if I send out a text message to like my top 10 referral partners and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to network for the next couple of like 8 weeks out because work is crazy right now, which is awesome. It's kind of the point. I know that if I like put the Batman signal up of like, hey, I need your support, those ladies will go full on army for me. Like they will make sure that anyone that they meet, whether it's a good referral or not, they may not even know, but they just know to put them in my sphere. That's how powerful that can be. So with my clients, that's what I try to get them to understand is if you're not, and granted, most of my clients are already networking, but the ones that aren't, then I'm trying to get them to understand the value because I'm like, listen, it doesn't sometimes matter that you need, hundreds of people looking at your website. That's not going to happen through networking. Not really. That's going to happen through probably like a paid ad. But it's going to put you into rooms with people that will get you in front of hundreds of people to speak about your business. It's going to get you into rooms where people will elevate you in ways that, other opportunities just won't. So it really depends on the goals, but that really is my goal with my clients is what is it that we're trying to reach within 6 months to a year? And then how can you network to get to that goal? And then track it. Yeah.
And then I'm going to use Zala as an example. And Zala, please speak up if you want to.
Thank you.
So I know Zala that you mentioned so that you had not done a newsletter in a very long time, but you have a very robust CRM and that you finally did it. And it was Jess that encouraged you to do that, if I remember correctly, right? And work with you.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
tell me just a little bit about that.
So I do. I have like 30,000 clients in my database, and I have talked to them twice a year, maybe when we're running a sale. And so I've trained my clients to only look out for sales and emails, and not to
Zala, for
actually
some
read.
reason, you're really breaking up. Can anyone hear her very well?
Might be her
No.
earbuds.
Is that better?
Sorry.
Yes, that's better.
Much better. Thank you.
Yeah. So I had, 30,000 clients in my database and I'd message them, I'd email market, twice a year when we'd have a sale going on. And that trained people to always be looking for a sale when we sent an email, but it also didn't really give me an opportunity to educate my clients. And I felt like it was just overwhelming to put together things. I wasn't very creative about it. And so Jess really helped me like create a real template for all of the things that I want to be consistently talking to my audience about. And then the piece that really made it so seamless was that she worked directly with my virtual assistant to create the visual and copy. And those were all pieces that I had like held on to with a death grip of like, it has to be me. And to realize that it could actually be done in my voice when someone understands you and can then, you know, tell others how to create that content about with your voice. I didn't think that was possible. So that was a huge value. And so now we're consistently talking to our clients, and we've got a better platform with better open rates, and all this stuff feels magical to me.
Oh, thanks, babe. Yeah.
That's great. So one thing I love Jess about, so some of the NIA members that are on the group that are on the call, so an agenda was built around what Jess just went over. And I know some people did it at their October meeting. For instance, I'm doing mine at my November meeting. But I loved two of the things in there. So one of them was, and something for you to think about is okay, so Jess talked about when you meet someone, how do they feel after they've talked to you? So that's an immediate one. So you meet someone, think about that. What is, the feeling they got when they stepped away from you in that 2 to 3 minute interaction, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Did the person seem genuinely interested? Did they make me feel like important, or that they were listening to me? And, did they pay attention to me? I mean, like you said, in a meeting, things can be like crazy and things going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if for me, if I have a lot of visitors there, I try not to be distracted when I'm talking to someone, but at the same time, I do need to talk to those people before they leave,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
acknowledge them coming. So, what you make them feel. But the one that I thought really struck me, and this might be something interesting to talk about, is what others are saying about when you are not in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something really big to think about.
Right.
So that your messaging has to be very good and clear for you to do that.
Yes. And I think it goes back to we undervalue, I think, the conversations that we're having within these networking meetings. Because and what's that? Someone probably knows it. It's that saying that's like, it's not about what you say, it's about how you make them feel. And people will remember that way, way longer and heavier than they will like what you do. It's a lot of times why I don't actually name my own business. I just talk about what I do and how I solve people's problems. I don't need them to remember the name of my business. I need to remember them to remember that's the marketing girl that I think knows that she can like save my marketing. That's what I need them to remember, because that crux is going to take my name into another meeting that I don't exist in and say, oh, this girl that I saw, she does marketing, and let me just introduce you. Like that alone can be impactful, but it's because I'm more focused on, I know you're struggling with something and I know I can help you, and making sure that that's really clear. And a lot of times that's why I say your intro is so powerful, because if you're just talking about who you are and your title, if more people are trying to figure out your title, then you have not done what you need to do within your commercial, right? So don't make people think about it. Get them an immediate clarity on, oh, I have that problem. Oh, she can solve it. Like that again is going to make people immediately go up to you after and start the conversation, instead of you feeling like you have to go and start the conversation with several people in the room. So yeah, yeah, if we can make people feel seen and valued, that's going to carry a lot of weight
Absolutely.
for sure.
Any other questions
Those are good questions. Thanks, guys.
or comments? Doesn't have to be a question. Input.
Yeah, I'll add one. So it's interesting that you mentioned reciprocity, because we talk about that in our groups a lot.
Mm.
And that law of reciprocity is pretty powerful. And so
Mhm.
people have a hard time um, recognizing that that requires patience.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
not
Yeah.
something that just happens immediately. So,
Yeah.
and there should not be an expectation
Yeah.
that there will be a reciprocation
Yeah.
when you give a referral.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a good comment that you added on that, and just wanted to emphasize that reciprocity thing is it just takes time.
Yeah.
So anyway, good.
That's a really great point. Thank you, because you're absolutely right. I think the moment that you release the expectation that, oh, if I just give out referrals, I'm sure they're going to give me those referrals back. That is not how that works. And it's funny because I was actually having a conversation with a client of mine where she's like, I'm giving out all these referrals and I'm not getting any back. And I'm like, that's interesting information because that tells me, do we really know how to refer you? Because if we know you really well, do we really know how to refer you? And or are we in rooms where people need you? Are we having those conversations? And so it is good information and it's good data to just kind of gather, but you're absolutely right. Like we cannot just expect that to happen, which is why I say the consistency of the follow-up of the check-in typically helps with that. But yeah, if you don't have patience, you're right, David. Like if you don't have patience, then it's not going to be, don't do this. That's what I'm just don't do the formula if you don't have patience because it does take some time. But yeah, but it works. It works when you work the system. So
Let's see. I think there's some more things in the chat. Just lots of congratulations. Thank you. Great job.
oh, thank you guys.
And then going to make a calendar reminder to connect and link my spreadsheet to make it easier. And then Kim said, great idea. So lots of great comments.
Awesome. Thank you guys. And honestly, like if anyone needs, I literally, it's a reason why I have 30-minute free connection discovery calls, whatever you want to call them. Because if you want to talk more about this or how this can work for your business more custom, then get on my calendar because I'm more than happy to talk about this just because it's worked so well for me that I feel like I'm not doing my own reciprocity if I don't talk about it and teach it because it's just been so powerful. So yeah. That's it. Thank
Great.
you. Thank you.
Thanks. So Daniela, you hand it back over to you. I don't know if you have anything to put in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies, and thank you, Jessica. Lovely presentation. Thank you for putting a cap on this season, I guess, of our speaker series, as this is the last of the year. All right, we're
nice.
gonna kick it off again in January, and let's see who we're gonna have. Let's head on over to member benefits on networkinaction.com. January 21st, we will be blessed by Miss Star Bobatoon. Sell with the story, harness the power of storytelling to drive sales. So look forward to that for our sales mastery, January 21st. I want to thank everyone else for being here. Thank you for showing up all the time. And yeah, that's all we have for today. So have a great one. Have a great rest of the year. Happy holidays and all that good stuff.
Wow.
Thank you guys so much. All
Thank you,
right.
everyone. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.